Sup, homies? My name is Mike S., and Phoebe Gates and her company FIA just announced a $8 million round. Now, Phoebe Gates is notable for being the daughter of former richest man in the world, Bill Gates. And there's a lot of ways to kind of unpack this. We've got the richest man in the world, whose daughter raised $9 million, a small fraction of his total investment. No signs that he was in or around the seed round for this company, though it might be true. But what I would like to do instead is just give you kind of the high level. What is FIA? Who did they raise? How much did they raise? Who they raised it from? And maybe some other implications from the software itself. With that said, I'd like to get this done in under 5 minutes, so let's get started. This is Crystal Ball Z. It aggregates, using a few agents in a series, all the information regarding funding and gives me a short description, so at a glance, I can have an eye for what's happening in the tech scene. In this case, I got notified that FIA had received $8 million. It was a little bit over that, in what they're calling a seed round. Now, look at this investor list. Something you don't see every day. Kleiner Perkins, among the best venture firms in the world, alongside, as lead investors, Kris Jenner and Hailey Bieber. Actually, at least one more person who was in on the investment, and I'll tell you guys about that in a second. Sector is fashion/retail, and the kind of the granddaddy of them all, you've got Bill Gates, former richest man in the world, Phoebe Gates being his daughter, creating this application. So this has kind of popped on my radar. What I want to do is I want to show you guys what the application does. I want to talk a little bit about who invested in it, and we'll go from there. So real quick, let's talk about the investors because they were very interesting on this project. Of course, you have the main dog, Kleiner Perkins. For those of you who don't know, I asked Jippy to go ahead and tell my audience who Kleiner Perkins is. A venture firm founded in 1972. Early investors in companies like Google, Amazon, Twitter, and Uber. And no doubt, if you spend any degree of time creating companies, following news about startups, you will no doubt be familiar with Kleiner Perkins. Okay. As alongside like Anderson Horowitz, Founders Fund, kind of like the who's who of an investing firm. Now, alongside Kleiner Perkins, you got Kris Jenner, wife or former wife of Bruce Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner, as well as Hailey Bieber, wife of Justin Bieber. Again, these are the investors in FIA. And there were some other names that came up. Now, Spanx founder Sarah Blakely, she invested, and Sheryl Sandberg. So you've got four kind of wealthy women in their own right. Sheryl Sandberg, formerly of Facebook, wrote the book. I can't even think of the name. Lean In. Wrote that book, Lean In. And so a kind of an interesting array of folks who invested in FIA, which of course is the company created by Bill Gates' daughter, Phoebe. Now let me show you guys what it looks like. So you are looking at Fire running in the browser. You can see it right here. It overlays. So the extension, you install the extension in Chrome, and then it overlays. And so then you can, you click and see what the other options are. So I hit show, and now it should be running. Didn't do a whole lot, did it? Let's try that. Oh, there, it loaded. Okay, look. So it basically injected it. So it was an overlay on top of the item you're looking at. It injected in and then showed me the prices for it. Wow, that is pretty weak sauce, I have to admit. They raised $9 million on this product. They also have an app on iOS, so totally worth checking out, I suppose. But that's all it does, huh? It just looks up. It just looks and just injects it in this overlay. Now, I didn't realize it was that simple. Okay, look, this is not the first product of its type. There are products like it. The one that comes to mind immediately is Honey. You guys remember Honey? Honey got in all sorts of drama a couple years ago. Same thing. It ran it as an extension to the browser, and you were able to find if there were any coupons for whatever you were buying. I believe PayPal found it, or PayPal had some coordination with it. Don't quote me in any of that. But, I actually just ran quickly on Jippity. Tell me the differences between the two. But, just using it and seeing it running just now, it totally reminds me a lot of Honey. But look, it mostly populated eBay, Poshmark. I mean, there was only really two companies. It might be more. There might be more to it. But fundamentally, that's the service. The basically, when you're viewing a product, it can find if there's a better ideal. How it embeds itself in that manner is with the search bar that overlays into Chrome. Nothing super impressive. Now, the fact that it works neatly and works well, presumably, assuming those were the best, but just the basic technology, we're not talking about a very impressive piece of technology there. But nonetheless, I wanted to show you guys what FIA is. The only other thing I wanted to say about it is what I thought was clever is here's the extension running. You can say this can read and change site data. Okay, so if you, I don't believe every extension has it. These are extensions I created. Oh, no, okay. So something they want to keep in mind, FIA does, is to make certain that they don't the data they store from the user, Honey got in a lot of trouble for this. They said they were storing a certain amount of data and they were storing more and perhaps selling it. You'll have to look in to see what the entire drama was about Honey. But, they were having a lot of problems. Let me see. Did they say anything about that here? Loss of users. I used Honey briefly. I mean, it was a mess. I could already tell from like day one that it was a mess. So that's kind of the core product. And on this product, they raised $9 million. I talked a little bit about who invested in them, why they invested in them. The last thing I wanted to say is about the funding announcement. So they raised $9 million. You guys saw what the application does. A browser extension and, of course, a mobile app that doesn't do a whole lot. Makes a query. Maybe they're aggregating from a lot of sources. Just what I saw when I ran it for Air Jordan, we saw just eBay and Poshmark. So if you think that's awesome, I mean, I guess that's okay. For $8 million, a little bit shocking. Now, they do have a 500,000 user base, something like that. So they're buying a little bit more. Okay. So what I thought was just absolutely hilarious is they attribute this company and their early success to not the fact that Bill Gates is her father or any of that. They contribute it to Fia's marketing being quintessentially Gen Z, focused on organic, public-facing founder-led content. Who knows what that means? But here's the gem. They use ChatGPT to help marketing in the pursuit of making viral campaigns. Now, gosh, there's so many layers from which to dissect this. Now, let me just give a shout out to something I created, clipception.xyz. This finds the most viral moments in your stream. So, but it does it all, all programmatically. What I'm hearing them say is, in effect, using an agent, either, Olama into GPT-5, or, effectively just querying or prompting, right? Tell me how I should create a viral campaign. I mean, look, this is not a super complicated ability. If you're not doing RAG on top of it, if you're just asking Jeopardy, this is not as impressive as I think they're suggesting. If that's the best Gen Z has, right, that they are able to Jeopardy out a marketing campaign, I think that's a little bit sus. So the last thing I wanted to say here is the next video will be on text to image, running it for free locally. So I found a project, Focus, that's what it's called, Focus with a few O's. And so I want to cover that. I also want to cover LangGraph. If there's anything you guys want me to cover, work on, check out some of your own work, leave me a comment and I'll give it a peep. Also, I stream on Twitch, CrystalMess323. Give me a follow. Be sure to sub and give me a like here, and I'll keep bringing the content. All right, peace, homies.